What do you like for breakfast? Bacon, egg, sausage, cereal, toast? Well, you know what I like? I like this beer. Breakfast beer. This is a double IPA by Brew by Numbers, and it is specifically made for breakfast. Let's see what it's like. Keep on watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing this beer. I've been looking forward to this for a while. This is a Brew by Numbers, number 55, and it is a double IPA. So it's a big hitter, 8.5%, but it's called Breakfast. So this is really about the closest thing you can get to an orange juice. I'm sure it's going to look like an orange juice. I don't think it's going to taste like one, but I'll give you a quick read on the back here. So it says, inspired by deliciously fruity breakfast smoothies, we decided to recreate the best features in a modern oat cream double IPA, utilising a double mash with significant oat, corn and wheat additions. I think it's going to be quite thick, this one. We created a beer with a huge body to showcase incredible new season Citra and Strata hops. The result is a satisfying, thick and creamy beer with an intense aroma of tropical fruit and flavours of sweet strawberry, juicy passion fruit and bright tangerine. As I said, 8.5%. It's obviously got lots of wheat and oats and all the rest of it in it, but it's also got vanilla in it. It's not lactose, but vanilla, which it seems a bit strange, but we'll see if we pick that up from the flavour. So let's get this beer cracked open and see if it's the best beer for breakfast. I don't know about you guys, but you know, if you're out on the beer on a weekend or whatever, I mean, maybe it's something a bit special, you know, like a stag do or something like that, and you have a bucket load of beer and the next day you wake up and you're feeling a little bit fragile and you go for the orange juice, but really what you need is an orange juice with a kick of alcohol just to sort of get you back into it, especially if you're going to start drinking again. So maybe this is the perfect beer for this. So I've brought my smaller little Tetu glass and we'll see how this one works. I mean, Strata seems to be a real popular hop at the moment. I do like Strata. And I'm quite surprised actually, because I expect it to be quite thick and gloopy, but it looks quite light. And as you can see there, the carbonation, there's quite a lot of carbonation on there. It's moving quite quickly though up the glass, and you know, maybe that will go a little bit. And the head is not really compacted. It's a pretty soapy looking head. I don't think that's going to hang around. I mean, you don't get a head with orange juice, and I doubt that you're going to get much in here. But it certainly looks quite light and quite not as thick, you know, in terms of its appearance. Okay, it does still look a little bit like an orange juice if you sort of discount the sort of head, which I think is going. But I would say that I expect it to be a deeper orange than that, but it's quite light. So let's see what the aromas are like. Yeah, I mean, again, I'd expect a bigger aroma from that. I'm getting quite a bit of grapefruit. That's the big aroma. And lemons and limes. A bit of orange as well, but I wouldn't say I'm getting huge amounts of, I thought I'd get real big mango sort of passion fruit, but I'm not really getting much of that at all. It smells nice, but for a double IPA, it's a little lacking. Okay, so as I'd expect, that head is literally going, but it's still very light. So let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, I mean, even though when you drink it, you're getting a little bit of carbonation, but not much. But it tastes quite thin. For all the sort of, you know, the build up, it's got vanilla and it's got corn and wheat and oats and all the rest of it. It's not as thick as a lot of IPAs even, let alone double IPAs. And you get a lot of grapefruit. Grapefruit is definitely the big sort of flavour here. I'm trying to work out whether I do feel I get a little bit of the warmth from the alcohol, the 8.5%. You know, it's not just the juice. But, you know, I don't know whether it's, you know, you read up about it and you think, oh, I'm expecting a real sort of gloopy, almost like, you know, when we've had sort of orange, you know, like sours, which sort of really sort of almost make the glass really dirty. It's because, you know, you can feel there's a lot of fruit in it. Well, this, you're not really getting it. To me, it's like an IPA, double IPA. I'm not getting the breakfastness of it. Actually, it's still a little bit more carbonated than I probably would expect. So what flavours are we getting? We're getting grapefruit. I'm getting things like gooseberry. I'm getting even those sort of melon. And I'm getting lemons and limes. That's quite a lot. I'm not getting orange, which I thought I would because it's a breakfast, called a breakfast double IPA. So I'm not getting the orange. I'm not even getting mango either. Passion fruit, subtleness of that, but it's not a big flavour. As I say, it's more grapefruit, lemons and limes. Let's go again. I'm a little confused. It's quite refreshing as well for a double IPA. It's very citrusy. It's very light. It doesn't, you know, a lot of double IPAs, you know, they can get to that point where they get a little bit dank and a little bit sort of chewy, and I can really sort of coat your mouth. But the way that you drink it, this drinks a little bit, although you can feel a little bit, you can feel a little bit of alcohol in there. It drinks in terms of its body and its flavour like a pale ale. It's that sort of lightness. So I'm a little bit disappointed. It's not a bad beer. It's definitely not a bad beer, but it's not. I think the talk about it being an oat cream double IPA with, you know, very breakfasty, I think it led me down a sort of path that basically I'm not getting from this beer. Nah, not at all. It's very citrusy. Lemons, limes, grapefruits. They're the big flavours. There's a subtleness of passion fruit. But that's it, you know. I'm not getting pineapple. I'm not even getting big hits of mango, which usually a double IPA, mango's all over it, stone fruits, you know, apricots, peaches. Not getting any of those at all. I'm getting a big hit of grapefruit. But you're not, I mean, it's not bitter though. It's quite a fresh, citrusy sort of pink grapefruit. And then you're getting lemons and you get a little bit of lime sort of flavour in there as well. And then there's a sort of passion fruity flavour in there as well. And that's about it. Mouthfeel, I mean, the head has disappeared. It's not there, but it doesn't feel as thick. It's not thick and gloopy in your mouth as you would expect, especially the way they talked about this oat cream, especially with an oat cream. You'd expect that thickness, you're not getting it. Now, that's not a bad thing. There'll be a lot of people going, oh, that put me off when I saw oat cream, it was going to be really thick. But it's probably the most refreshing double IPA that I've had, 8.5%. It's a much more sort of lighter in terms of its flavour than many double IPAs. I'm not a massive fan. You see on the channel, I don't drink many double IPAs because the problem I have with a lot of them is that it's sort of they're almost like a meal in a drink, you know. They're thick, they're very strong on the flavours. But for this double IPA, I've not had anything like this. It's light. It's very light in terms of its flavour profile. It's not thick and gloopy. It's light in its body, and the flavours there are, yeah, I mean, they're still there. There's still big grapefruits and lemons and limes, but I've had pale ales. A good pale ale would have these sort of flavours in them. But then there's a slightly warming, very slightly though. I don't know whether just because I know it's 8.5% and my brain tricks me into that. Yeah, there's a little bit of warmth, whether that's a little hot burn or a little bit of alcohol. I think you get that, but it drinks very lightly. It's not bad, but it isn't what it says it is on the tin. So let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Brew by Numbers 55, Double IPA, Breakfast. That's what it's called, just breakfast. 8.5%. It's got Strata and Citra hops in it. It's not surprisingly thick and creamy beer. That's what it isn't. But let's go through it. Aroma. So aroma again, double IPAs usually have a big pungent aroma. But I'm getting a light, fresh, pale ale-esque aroma. Citrus, fruits, I'm getting lemons and limes, but grapefruit is a big aroma in here. Am I getting much else? Not really. I'm getting those citrusy sort of things, and I'm getting a little bit of an alcohol smell, and I'm getting grapefruits. It's all about the grapefruit. Passion fruit, it's sort of there. It comes and goes. Some sniffs you get it, some you don't, but it's not big. But in terms of other big sort of tropical sort of aromas, like your pineapples and your mangoes and your papayas and those sort of aromas, I'm not getting them that much. It's not bad, but I'm giving it 13 for aroma. It smells pretty good, but it doesn't smell like I expected it to. Appearance, well, appearance even, that's also not what I expected. It's very, very light. I expected this to be a much more sort of, you know, a bit more custardy, more like a sort of orange or pineapple juice. But to me, that looks like it's just too light. It's very, very light in terms of its looks. Very little in the way of head, which, you know, if you're going to try and describe it like a breakfast fruit juice, then you wouldn't expect that. But it's very light. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but again, it doesn't look like I expected it. But I'm going to give it 7 for appearance. Flavour. Well, the can described it as thick and creamy. It's not thick and creamy. I don't think it's thick and creamy at all. It's very light in terms of its flavour. And like the aromas, you're getting lots of citrus. You'd expect more tropical notes, but you get a lot of citrus, lemons and limes, grapefruits, bit of passion fruit. There's a bit of passion fruit in there. Very, very low, if any bitterness at all. The carbonation is low, but it's not. But it's still quite light. I don't think you can't describe an 8.5% beer as watery, but it doesn't taste like it's like an oat cream IPA or, you know, double IPA should do. It's the lightest double IPA that I think I've ever drank. And if anything, it should be thicker than a normal double IPA because it's got this corn and oats and all the rest of it in it. It's got vanilla. I'm not picking up any vanilla in it at all. So a little bit disappointed. It's not bad. It's definitely got those strata. The strata is very, I think it's quite a fresh, grapefruity sort of flavour. And you're definitely getting the stratas coming through a lot on this. Makes it very refreshing as a beer. And I don't think I've ever used that word refreshing with a double IPA coming at 8.5%. So I'm giving it 31 for flavour. Value for money, well, this one cost me over a fiver, £5.50 I think it was. So it's not the cheapest. I mean, it's a double IPA, so you expect to pay a little bit more. But then I'd almost drink a pale ale because it's got those sort of, it's got the flavours of a pale ale. It's got the profile of a pale ale. Yes, the only difference is that you can get that bit of alcohol sort of flavour in it. It's slight. It's not don't, because I think when I saw a reviewer saying, yeah, you're getting an alcohol taste in it, that puts me right off, and I wouldn't want to buy it. But you get it, but it sort of comes and goes. The biggest thing is the first taste you get when you first put it to your mouth is you're getting it quite light and citrusy and fresh, which is not something for a double IPA that it's usually bigger on the stone fruits. It's much more gloopy and a little bit danker, but this is very uncharacteristic. So, but there is still that little bit of warmth. I don't know if it's a warmth or a hot burn. It's certainly manageable, but you just know you're not drinking a 4% pale ale, for example, even though a lot of the flavours are like that. So, value for money, I'm giving it 7 because it's 8.5%, £5.50. You know, it's that sort. It's at the right sort of level. You can pay more, but it still drinks like a lower ABV than this. It drinks like a double dry hot pale more than it does even an IPA. So 7 for value. And overall experience, well, let's go. I'm giving it 12. It's not a bad beer, but I think the problem is that I dressed this up as a, it was all thick and gloopy and like a big orangey tropical smoothie that you would have for breakfast. But to be honest, it's nothing like that at all. It's light. It's very zesty. It's very citrusy. And a lot of the tropical sort of flavours don't really come through. It's certainly pleasant, but I wouldn't want to drink more than one because it's 8.5%. But I expected a much more thicker and gloopier beer, so I'm a little bit disappointed by that. So 12 for overall experience. Tighten those scores up, it just about makes it into the recommended. 70 out of 100 for this one. So anyone out there had this one? Brew by Numbers, Double IPA, breakfast. As I said, I think it's the marketing has swayed me to this one, because you read what it says on the back and it certainly sounds inviting. A creamy beer, you double mash with oats and corn and wheat additions. It says a thick body, it's got vanilla in it. I'm not getting any of that sort of stuff. I'm not getting a sweet strawberry, juicy passion fruit and bright tangerine. I can't get any orange in this at all, and that's what I was expecting. So a little bit disappointed in terms of the can description to the beer, but if the can had said nothing about it, I'd say it's quite a drinkable double IPA. Citra and Strata. They're a good combination of hops, but they do create this very, I would say, a fresh sort of taste. You're not getting stone fruits, you're getting citrus. It's more on that way. It's all the way on that way, those. And I think other Strata and Citra beers that I've had, I do get that sort of level. I think the alcohol is starting to get to me now. Now I've drank it, 8.5%. It's hidden well, but if you had two of them, you'd know about it. That's what it is. 70, slide it down, slow and easy. I'm starting to flag on this review now, but let me know if you've had this before. What do you think? Double IPAs with a much more sort of fresher, lighter, citrusy sort of taste. I think that's very uncommon, but maybe there's some other double IPAs like that. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you've had this before. I've got a few double IPAs coming up. I don't know why, but they seem to be stuck in my fridge. I've got one from Sainsbury's, a double IPA. I've got one from Morrison's, a double IPA. They're coming soon on the channel. I think they'll be a little bit thicker and gloopier than this, but we'll wait and see, shall we? And until the next one, keep on rocking.